Well, this is SOUNDW, and it's our Installation for Sound Design Festival this year, and it's kind of a product of a collaboration between architects, contractors, and a really great AV team at AVE.
Team is feedback, and that came out pretty early. And I'm an acoustic engineer and an audiovisual engineer, and so my immediate thought went to sound, as did many people's, I think, when you think of feedback. And so we wanted to figure out ways to work in multiple different definitions of it, because there's this sort of literal acoustic feedback that happens when you connect a speaker and a microphone to each other and you put them too close and it starts feeding back. But you can use that in a musical way if you tune the environment that it's in to certain pitches, which you can then have compose a musical score to accompany and have sound good together. So that was one of the things. And I kind of latched onto the discovery part of feedback with that, as when you really put a lot of feedback into a system, certain properties of it are encouraged and amplified that you don't usually hear or you don't usually know are there. And so in the entryway of SOUNDW, there's a feedback chamber where there are two acoustically reflective surfaces that bounce sound back and forth between them. And the spacing of them is tuned such that it'll be in key with the music inside. And so that lets you hear kind of like a natural music of the world that is always there. You think, and that is because of feedback. So that's one. And then there's also the recordings that you make before you enter telephone, which can be for something you care about, just voicemail. It can be anything, really. But the idea is that everyone's messages are then woven together in the middle, and you get this idea of how, I don't know, it connects you to your community in a sort of abstract way that might make you think about it differently. It's how you interpret the prompt as opposed to how other people interpret the prompt. And you hear these messages kind of fade in and out as you move around the space. So it helps you kind of meditate on it.
Awesome. Do you guys mind giving us a quick little demo of how it all works?
Great.
Awesome. Okay.
Start here.
Okay.
So, kind of the grist in the middle of the sound experience is folks picking up the phone and leaving a message for someone they care about.
Mhm.
So I would love for you to maybe leave a message.
Okay.
And then in a minute we'll go inside, we'll hear that message, we gotta process.
Okay.
Hello. I just wanted to let you know that you are loved. And I love you very much. Okay, bye. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So then, now that kind of loops a few times through here. And what's happening here is here's the microphone, which is live, and it's connected to this speaker. And the kind of tones that you hear resonating most strongly, those are the natural frequencies of this structure here. And so it's kind of making music out of the physical world. And I've been inspired by sound artists who've done things like this in the past, but this is a nice way to kind of fold in the concept of feedback into something community-oriented and meditative, all that stuff. So that's what's going on here. And then as we go inside. Yeah, so then there's a few things going on in here. We've got our baseline ambient soundscape, and we also have the voices being woven in kind of from the entire day. Recordings that people have made since the beginning of the installation are kind of being fed in and looped through. And as you move around the space, things change. So there are some distance sensors up in the corners. And so when you get close to one, a certain musical element gets louder.
Yeah.
And then if you back away from it, it gets quieter. Over here, it's a different one. And the voices get more clear. It depends on what recording it is. Sometimes they have a lot of silence in them, so you might not hear it. But so every now and then you'll catch snippets of what people's recordings were. And that's the idea. It's like you're not always being blasted with clear language. But if you stay in here long enough and you move around, you'll catch little bits of what people have said. There's a good one. Yeah.
Awesome. This is really cool.
And then we also have these really neat lighting aperture things that one of our lighting designers at AVE designed, just kind of on his own, 3D printed all the parts, just to give the lighting vibe a more dynamic element so that it can kind of open and close and change the lighting in here over time. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for being here and creating this really cool space for people to come and receive feedback.